Guys, please confirm to me. All of you have my voice on screen. Those are attending online. I'm audible, guys. Now please check it. All of you have my voice on screen. Those are attending online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you have my voice on screen. Those are attending online. I'm audible. Please confirm to me. All of you have my voice on screen. Those are attending online. Please confirm to me, guys. All of you have my voice on screen. Everybody, please respond to me. All of you have my voice on screen. Those are attending online. Right. Good evening, guys. And in the last session, just we understand the content like differences between Java and others, the topic we started there in the last session. Okay. In the differences between Java and others, if you take this content here. So where we started with static programming languages and dynamic programming languages. From that particular point onwards, we started our content. Now let us see, just 1 minute I want to discuss with you regarding this content. The very first one is like what there. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. If any programming language follows static memory allocation, then the programming language is called static programming language. Where the static memory allocation provides the memory allocation, memory for the primitive data types or primitive data at a compilation time. Examples for static programming languages are what? C and C++. In C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for the data at a compilation time only, not at a runtime. Fine. If any programming language follows dynamic memory allocation, then that programming language is called a dynamic programming language. Where the dynamic memory allocation provides the memory for the primitive data at the runtime of the application, not at compilation time. Examples for dynamic programming languages are what? Java and Python. In Java applications, memory will be allocated for the data at the runtime only, not at the compilation time. There's some diagrammatic representation are given. What is the meaning of compilation? What is the meaning of runtime? And what is static memory allocation? What is dynamic memory allocation? All the points here we understand. Next one is the second point here we understood that preprocessor is required in C and C++, but a preprocessor is not required in Java. Right. Next one is I given some points to you. The location of the preprocessor I given them clearly. The location of the preprocessor is at which location there actually inside the compilation. Preprocessor is the first phase. Okay, what is its responsibility actually? Alright. Preprocessor exists in the compilation as the first phase. In a C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. What are these header files actually? Yesterday.h, solid.h, math.h, and so on. If you want to use predefined library in C and C++ applications, then we have to include header files in C and C++ programs. To include header files in C and C++ programs, we have to use hash include statements. Examples for hash include statements are what they hash include stdio.h, hash include poly.h, and hash include math.h. That's okay, fine. If we compile C and C++ programs, then the preprocessor will perform the following actions. What are the various actions that preprocessor is able to perform there? When we compile with C program, preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header file names that what we provided along with the hash include statements. Preprocessor will check whether the provided header files exist or not in the C++ software. If the provided header files do not exist in the C and C++ software, then preprocessor will raise an error. Alright, if the provided header files are existed in the C and C++ software, then the preprocessor will load the header files content to the memory. This type of loading of predefined library at compilation time is called static loading. Conclusion here I have given there. What was the conclusion I provided there? In a C and C++, preprocessor is required to recognize hash include statements in order to load the provided data files content to the memory. That's the main intention of the preprocessor in C and C++. Okay, now this part, the diagrammatic representation here I given. After that, one more diagram I have given there about the Java. Alright, now we have to understand why preprocessor is not available in Java. What's the problem with the preprocessor in the case of Java? Everybody, put more observation. In a single line, if you want to conclude, answer is very clear. In Java, header files are not available, so hash include statements are not available, so preprocessor is not required. That's a simple conclusion we can give. But the information I want to provide, you try to understand it. Everybody, put more concentration here. What I am telling you, in Java programming language, everybody understand it clearly. In Java, the complete predefined library. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of a header files. You know already that much. But in the case of Java, the complete predefined library was provided. The complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes, and interfaces inside the packages. But the main point here we have to understand that inside what the packages. The complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces inside what the packages. Understand it here. Mainly packages. In the form of packages, the total predefined library is available in Java. Examples for this package no, if you understand it clearly, Java.io. What is it? What is the package system? No? Java.io. Next one is Java.util. Java.util. Next one is Java.sql. For example, Java.sql and so on. So many packages are available. More and more number of packages are available in Java. Not to understand each and every one. But at present we have to understand Java.io, Java.util, then what next one again? Java.sql. Okay, this is content. After this, after completion of this concept, everybody understand the point now. Fine. In the case of C and C++, library is available in the form of header files. To use that library in C++ programs, we have to include header files into the C and C++ programs. To include header files in C and C++ programs, give me a minute of time. Guys, now please confirm to me. I'll forget my voice on screen now. Guys. Now please confirm to me. Guys, is my voice is clear? Are you getting my voice clearly? Clear voice is coming. I'm audible, guys. Now please confirm to me. I'll forget my voice on screen clearly. Now check it, guys. Is my voice is clear now? Now is it clear? Guys, all of you please respond to me. All of you are getting clarity now. Now is it clear? Please once again respond to me, guys. Yeah, it's okay, fine. Right, sir. Now, so now the point is what there in C and C++ to include that to use predefined library in C++ programs, we have included header files in C and C++ programs. Similarly, in the case of Java, predefined library is available in the form of packages. If you want to use predefined library in Java programs, we have to include these packages into the Java programs. Same as C and C++, we have to include what there these packages into the Java programs. To include these packages into the Java programs, there we have to use import statements. What statements here we have to use there? Import statements. Hash include in C and C++, import statement in what there? In a Java programming language. Now try to observe carefully. If you want to use predefined library in Java applications, then we have to include the respective packages in the Java applications. Here to include packages in the Java applications, we have to use what statements? Import statements. Here we have to use what statements there? Import statements. That's it. This is exactly the requirement of what there? Import statements. Now I'm going to give some examples to you. Now try to understand this example here. Now the first one is like what there? Import java.io.star semicolon. Import what there? Java.io.star. Import java.util.star. Next one is import. There we can identify java.sql.star. Observe carefully how that import statements are available. Import java.io.star means that what is the meaning of the star actually? Star represents all classes and interfaces from which package? Java.io. All classes and interfaces from what package there? Java.io. Here also we are using star. Star represents what there? All from java.util package. Here also star is representing what there? All classes and interfaces from what there? Java.sql. So this is the syntax of using what there? Import statements. Is that all of you getting my point or not? Okay, fine. Now listen carefully. One internal point here I'm telling you. In the case of C and C++, when we compile a program, preprocessor has performed some actions. Have you remembered that what actions that preprocessor has performed there? First, preprocessor will recognize hash include statements, takes all the header files names and checking whether these header files are available or not in the C++ software. If they're not available, raise an error. If they're available, load their content to the memory. That is nothing but static loading. This is what exactly the process that has been performed by the preprocessor in the case of C and C++. Similarly, in the case of Java, what it is going on, observe carefully. When we compile Java program that contains import statement, observe carefully, when we compile Java program that contains import statements, the compiler will perform the following actions. Compiler will perform the following actions. What actions that compiler is able to perform there? Observe carefully. The very first one, compiler will recognize what statements there? Import statements. Same. How preprocessor has recognized hash include statements. Similarly, compiler has recognized what their import statements. Not only that, what compiler will please come. What compiler will do? No, compiler will recognize import statements. That's okay, fine. Next one is what there? Compiler will take all the provided packages names. Preprocessor has taken all the header files names. Then after that, preprocessor went to the C and C++ software where it will check whether provided header files are available or not. Similarly, compiler will check whether the provided packages are existed or not in the Java software. Got it? What I said to you? Right. Compiler will check whether the packages exist or not in the provided Java software. In the case of preprocessor, if the provided header files are not available, raise an error. Then preprocessor will raise what there? An error. Understand my point? But right, sir. Now here also be if the provided packages do not exist in the Java software, then the compiler will raise an error. Will raise an error. In the case of Java, I will specify the error message also. What is the error message? Package. Understand it clearly. Package XXX does not exist. In place of XXX, we can provide what there? Package java.io does not exist. Package java.util does not exist. Package java.sql does not exist. Are you forget my point or not? Almost the process is very same, but changes are available. I try to identify the changes now. For example, in the case of C and C++, if the provided header files are existed, preprocessor will load that header files content to the memory. That is called a static loading. Similarly, if the provided, listen carefully, here itself deviation is available. If the provided packages does not exist or maybe do not exist, no, then if the provided packages are existed in the Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error. If the packages are available in the provided Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error. And at the same time, the compiler will not load any package content to the memory. Here only we are getting the deviation. Try to understand it clearly. In C and C++, when header files are identified, the preprocessor has loaded all the header files content to the memory. That is static loading. But in the case of Java, even though compiler identifies the packages in Java software, still compiler will not load that package content to the memory. Package, that means compiler will not load, does not load the package content to the memory. Is that correct or not? Okay. In Java, if compiler is not loading packages content to the memory, then who will take that responsibility of loading that predefined library to the memory? If the compiler is not performing this, then who will take that responsibility? That we have to understand clearly. Everybody, understand my point here now. Now I'm giving that point to you. Now try to understand it clearly. In Java, everybody put more concentration here. I'm telling to you, in Java, at runtime of the application, at what time? Runtime of the application. That means at execution time, JVM will load the required classes and interfaces, bytecode, or maybe classes and interfaces to the memory. JVM will load the required classes and interfaces to the memory from the packages. From what there? From the packages. That's it. Who will perform that loading actually? JVM. What is that JVM actually? Java Virtual Machine. It is able to execute the Java programs. At runtime, JVM will load the required classes and interfaces to the memory from the packages. Understand my point here? In Java, loading predefined library at runtime. Loading predefined library at runtime is called what type of loading, sir? In C and C++, we understood that is what? Static loading. But in the case of Java, it is what there? Dynamic loading. In the case of Java, it is what there? Dynamic loading. Observe carefully. A simple conclusion here I'm telling to you. C and C++ are following what type of loading? Static loading. Java is following what type of loading? Dynamic loading. The difference here we have to understand. C and C++ are following static loading, whereas Java is following what there? Dynamic loading. Are you forgetting it or not? Okay, fine. This is about like what there? Static loading, and what next one here? No, dynamic loading. Clear. One more point I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. Hash include statement supports static loading, whereas import statement supports what there? Dynamic loading. See, in the case of Java, what I am telling there, in Java, compiler is responsible for checking whether the packages are, whether the packages exist or not in the Java software. Compiler is not responsible for what there. Compiler is not responsible for compiler is not responsible for loading predefined library to the memory. But in the case of C and C++, preprocessor is responsible for loading. In the case of Java, JVM is responsible for loading, but not compiler. But compiler responsibility is what there, checking that libraries are available or not. That's it. If the compiler is giving confirmation of existing that libraries, no, if they are available inside the Java software, then JVM will load them, JVM will execute them as per its requirement. That's it. Now there's the internal content here we have to understand. That's okay, fine. Next one is conclusion. I'm giving the conclusion here. Java doesn't require preprocessor. Why? Because Java, why? Because hash include statements and header files are not existed in Java. What is the reason why hash include statements and what is the reason why preprocessor is not available in Java? Why? Because hash include statements and header files are not existed in Java. Alternatively, Java has what files are available? Header files and import statements are available. Alternatively, what files are available? Header files, and what next one? Import statements are available. Right, sir. Now observe carefully. Java does not require preprocessor. Why? Because hash include statements and header files do not existed in Java. Alternatively, Java has header files and import statements. Yes, sir. All of you are getting clarity in this point now? Right. Then as per that, the diagram here I given there. Now try to understand the diagram. Java compilation, what files here we are getting there? Dot class files, execution, output. Preprocessor is not existed inside the Java. Compiler, assembler, link loader, link editor. In the compiler, how many phases are available? Almost all 6 or 7 phases are available. Lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and code generation. This diagram is okay. As it is here, we are getting it clearly. All right. All of you understand it now. The next one is what there. I have one important interview question now. In this particular situation, there is an important interview question. What is that interview question now? Everybody put more concentration. What are the just 1 minute. You guys just give a minute of time. Right, sir. So what are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? This is a question here we have to understand. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? All right, sir. Now understand it clearly. This is one of the important interview question that we have to understand clearly. Everybody has to understand this question here. 1 minute. Right, sir. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statements? Observe carefully. Answers here I am providing there. The very first answer: in which programming languages both are available? First point here we have to understand in which programming languages both are available. First of all, hash include statements exist in C and C++. Similarly, import statements exist in Java. The first difference, what I given there. Number 2. What is the purpose of hash include statement? What libraries it is able to include? No. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of header files. Am I right or not? Right, sir. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of what their header files. Next one is import statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of classes and interfaces inside the packages, or simply saying that packages. Right, sir. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of the header files. Import statements are able to include the predefined libraries existing in the form of classes and interfaces inside the packages. Right, sir. Now number 3. Who will recognize these hash include statements and who will recognize these import statements? No. Hash include statements are recognized. Hash include statements are recognized by the preprocessor. Who is evaluating hash include statement? Preprocessor only. But now tell me, who will recognize these import statements actually? Who are recognizing that import statements? No. Import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. At the time of compilation, compiler must check whether these packages are available or not. So compiler must recognize this as import statement. Now at runtime, JVM must load the header files content. JVM must load packages content to the memory or not. So at runtime, JVM must recognize what their import statements. So both compiler and JVM will recognize what their import statements. Now tell me, which one is supporting static loading and which one is supporting dynamic loading? If we come for this point here, hash include statements supports static loading, whereas import statements supports dynamic loading. Hash include statements are supporting static loading and import statements support what their dynamic loading. This is one point here. All of you understand it clearly? Answer for my question. No? Everybody put more concentration here. As you know already, C programming language is a bit. Is the syntax is possible? Now try to observe this syntax. No. Hash include stdio.h, conio.h, math.h. Is it possible to write the syntax like this? That means what I am asking there, is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? No, it is not possible. But what is possible, sir? Now tell me. All right, sir. What is possible in the sense by using single hash include statement? There we are able to include only one header file. There we are able to include only one header file. Hash include math.h. Like this here, we are able to have the point here. Now understand it clearly. The point is what there in a C and C++. In a C and C++, single hash include statement is able to include only one header file. To include more than one header file, we must use more than one hash include statement. Am I right or not? We must use what there? More than one hash include statement. This is a point here. In C and C++, if you want to include more than one header file, we must use multiple hash include statements. But the same point I'm telling to you in Java, try to understand it clearly. In Java, everybody put more concentration here. In Java, a single import statement How many statements? No, a single import statement can include more than one class or interface of the same package, more than one class or interface of the same package by using star notation. By using what notation here? No, star notation. Everybody put more concentration what I am telling to you. In Java, single import statement can include more than one class or interface of the same package by using what notation there? Star notation. Example here I am telling to you, observe carefully. Import java.io.star. What is the meaning of it? No, this star here, it can represent more than one class, more than one interface of the respective package. Means that all classes and all interfaces of the respective package. But the star notation is not possible with what there? Hash include statements. Now tell me, where less number of finish sections are going on, where more number of finish sections are going on there. In a C and C++, number of finish sections are more or not. In the case of Java, number of finish sections are very less or not. That is the reason why Java is getting somewhat demand when compared with other programming languages. Is it? All of you are getting clarity in this point now? That's it. Now, this is exactly the meaning of like what there. Right, sir. Now the differences between hash include statement and import statement. Now tell me, sir, what are the differences here? What is the first difference here we are understanding there? Now tell me, hash include statements exist in C and C++, whereas import statements exist in what there? Java. Hash include statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of header files, but import statements are able to include the predefined libraries existed in the form of classes and interfaces inside the packages. Next one is what? After that, hash include statements are recognized by the preprocessor, whereas import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. Hash include statements support static loading. Import statements support what their dynamic loading. Next one is in a C and a C++, single hash include statement is able to include only one header file. To include more than one header file, we must use more than one hash include statement. Example I have given: hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, hash include math.h, and so on. In Java, a single import statement can include more than one class or more than one interface of the same package by using what notation there? Star notation. Any example for it? No. Yes, import java.io.star. All classes and all interfaces of the java.io are coming. Please remember this point here. Package is a collection of classes and interfaces. Package is what there? Collection of classes and interfaces. If we provide star notation, all classes and all interfaces we are able to get inside what there? Into the java.io package. Now similarly, what next one here I am telling there, for example, import java.util.star. What we are able to get there? Import java.util.star. The data here we are getting clearly. Right, so now this is exactly the differences between hash include statement and import statement. See, and one small information I'm telling to you. In Java, in complete core Java, only core Java I'm talking there. Advanced Java later I will talk about it. Entire core Java, maximum number of interview questions are max 40 to 45 questions only. That's 40 to 45 questions only. Every interview, all interviews, match the questions from that 40 to 45 only. Repeated questions. If you perfect about these questions, no, your Java interviews you are going to complete without having any second thought. Understand my point here? No? Just if you know that 40 to 45 questions, no, easily we can crack your Java interviews. But for working with the projects, no, only these questions knowledge is not sufficient. Their subject level is required. Subject is required. So because of that reason, I will put more concentration on subject as well as part of the content. I will include what their interview questions. So what I'm suggesting to you, today we completed this particular topic. Today night, what we have to do there, take one separate notebook. In the separate notebook, just to write only interview questions. Don't write the complete data. Just question number 1, take that question and answer. Question number 2, write question and answer. Like this, take one like what there, one notes we can maintain now. Or else, if you don't want to think about time waste process here, if you think about time waste process at your home there, try to bring that interview questions notebook into the classroom. Whenever I'm typing the content, directly we can write that questions and answers. But remaining notes is not required. At least interview question and answer we can prepare. At the end of the story, that entire book will be available for what there? Only interview questions. Whenever we are having interviews there, just open it and try to check that all the interviews, all the questions there. Automatically, we are able to get knowledge. Just revision, we are able to have directly. Yes, sir. Got it? What I'm telling them. Okay. Right. Leave this point here. So finally, preprocessor required in a C and a C++. Preprocessor does not required in Java. That point we completed now. Right, sir. Can I move forward? Can I go for the next topic there now? Right, sir. What is that next topic actually? Understand it now. The next difference, 1 minute. I think font size is not good for you. Just let me check it now. Right, sir. It's okay. Fine. No problem. I think now it is okay. Fine. Yes, sir. Is that font is okay now? Right. Now coming to the point number 3. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. That's the difference here. Third difference here we have to understand. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Okay, fine. We have to understand each and every point clearly. About this one also we need to understand it clearly. So before going to start our concept, platform dependent or platform independent, C++, Java platform dependent or platform independent, before this point here, first of all understand it. What is platform dependent programming language and what is platform independent programming language? First that we have to understand. Is that all of you are getting clarity on this? What is platform dependent programming language and what is platform independent programming language? First we have to understand this point. Let's move on to the punch here. All of you put more concentration here. Everybody understand this point, no? If any programming language allows its applications to perform, listen carefully, if any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, if any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, not on 2 different operating systems, okay, then that programming language is called a platform dependent programming language. Then the programming language is called what there? A platform dependent programming language. That's it. Examples, direct examples. C and what there? C++. Come again. What is the definition for platform dependent programming languages? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on how many operating systems? No, same operating system, not on 2 different operating systems, then that programming language is called a platform dependent programming language. Examples for platform dependent programming language are what? C and C++. Definition is okay, examples are okay, but how can we justify C is a platform dependent programming language? What exactly the internal logic why C programming language is a platform dependent programming language? That we have to understand. Now I will give one simple diagram here. Now try to understand it clearly. Right. Now all of you observe carefully. For example, now I want to take a C program. This is my C program. When I said the C program, automatically the file extension should be like what there? .c. The file extension should be like what there? .c. All right, it's okay, fine. dot C. Now tell me, whenever we are having C program, there we need to perform compilation or not? Definitely here we have to perform what there compilation. There we can understand this is like what there compilation. Compilation here we have to perform. When we perform compilation, now tell me, all of you now tell me, when we perform compilation, what files we are able to get inside the C and C++? When we perform compilation, what files here we are able to get? Now tell me. There definitely we are able to get what there dot exe files. What files there? Dot exe files. There we are going to provide what there dot exe files. All right, sir. Now dot exe files. Next one is whenever we are performing compilation, whenever we are getting .exe file, next we have to go for what their execution process. What we have to open their execution process. This is like what their execution. Now tell me, who will perform this execution actually? JVM will, sorry, C engine is able to perform what their execution. Execution. Who will perform this execution actually? C engine. When we execute this C program, there we are able to get some outputs. What outputs here we are able to get there? Some results. Whatever the results here we are expecting, the same results here we are able to get. Now outputs, values here we are able to get. This is the program. Alright, sir. C program, compilation, .exe file, execution, then we are getting some outputs. First of all, let me go for the definition. As per the definition, for compilation, we require one operating system, and for execution, we require operating system. Maybe same or different, that we will decide now. Understand my point here? Same operating system or different operating system, that we are going to discuss. Okay. Right, sir. Now, first of all, understand it. For compilation, I want to take Windows operating system. For compilation, what operating system here we have taken? Windows operating system. As per the platform dependent programming languages definition, the same Windows operating system I have to use for what? The same Windows operating system here we have to use for what? For what there? For execution. Am I right or not? At runtime also we have to use what there? The same Windows operating system. Am I right or not? Okay. For the discussion point of I want to change the operating system at runtime. Now I want to provide what there? Linux operating system. For discussion point of view. For understanding the concept, I want to take what there? Linux operating system. Now tell me, all of you now tell me. For compilation, what operating system I have taken? Windows. For execution, what operating system here I am taking? No, Linux operating system here I have taken. Now let's understand the content clearly. All right, sir. Now here .c program I have written. This is what their high level program. Am I right or not? Developer understandable language, developer understandable representation. When we compile the C program, .exe file here we are getting. What this .exe file is having actually, what .exe file is able to have there? The .exe file is able to have the, alright, some executable code. Directly executable code is available inside the .exe file. Now I'm going to write some information about the .exe file. All of you observe carefully some details about the .exe file. .exe file contains directly executable code. .exe file contains what there? Directly executable code. And it has the local operating system representations. It has the local operating system representations. And it must represent, it has the local operating system representation. That's it. It has the local operating system representations. Understand it clearly? What representations here we are having there? Local operating system representations. Right. This is exactly The meaning of like what there .exe file, information about the .exe file. Tell me guys, what is the nature of the .exe file? Now all of you now tell me what exactly the meaning of this .exe file. .exe file contains directly executable code and it has the local operating system representations. Local operating system representations in the sense, what is that local operating system? Now tell me, sir. And which operating system we have done compilation? Windows operating system. When we perform compilation on Windows operating system, what representations are available? What representations are available? That is Windows representations. That is what their Windows representations. Clear or not? Fine. Observe carefully. Now coming to the dot, that means coming to the execution process. All right, sir. C engine is able to execute our program. When C engine is able to execute the program, it was installed on the top of what operating system? Now tell me. C engine was installed on the top of what operating system? Linux operating system. Now C engine is available on what there? Linux operating system. When C engine is available on Linux operating system, then that C engine is able to understand only Linux representations. Get my point or not? C engine is able to understand and execute the code which is in Linux representations. Everybody understand my point clearly? C engine is able to understand and execute the code which is in Linux representations. Why it is in Linux representation? Why this is a case? No. Why? Because it was installed on the top of what operating system? No, Linux operating system. It was available in the on top of what there? Linux operating system only. It is available. That's enough. Because of that reason, what I'm telling there, our program is not going to be executed. Right, sir. Once again, I'm telling to you, observe carefully. C engine was installed on the top of the Linux, so it can understand and execute the code which is in Linux representations. Clear? Now understand it now. Once again, coming back here, I have written a C program. I compiled my C program on Windows operating system. What file I got there? .exe file. The .exe file contains what representations? Now tell me. .exe file contains what representations? Windows. Okay, fine. Right. My C engine is available on what operating system? Linux. It can understand what representations? No, Linux representations only. Now in this case, we are providing Windows representations to what? C engine which is on Linux operating system. We are providing Windows represented .exe file to the C engine which is on Linux operating system. But in this case, C engine is expecting what representations? Linux representations. C engine is required what representations? Linux representations. But we are providing what representations? No, Windows representations can be provided. Where some mismatch is identified or not? Remember one point, from one operating system to another operating system, internal data representations are varied. Internal data representations are different from one operating system to another operating system. Windows is following its own representation. Linux is having its own representation. Now, in this case, what happened? We are providing Windows representations, but C engine required which representations? No, Linux representation. Because of this reason, our program is not going to be executed. Because of this reason, the C program is not going to be executed. Yes, sir, got it or not? But in this case, if we want to make our C program to execute, what we have to do, or what manipulations is required, what manipulation we have to do to execute our C program there? Only the manipulation is what? That manipulation is what there? At runtime, either at runtime we have to change the operating system to the operating system which we have used for compilation, or we have to change the operating system at compilation when compared with the operating system that we have used at runtime. Got my point? And finally, we have to maintain the same operating system for compilation and for execution. Either we can change compile time operating system, or we have to change what their runtime operating system. But in general, we are not going to change the compile time operating system. Why? Because already compilation was performed. Already compilation was performed. Then it is not required to change the operating system at compilation time. Then there is a possibility to change the operating system at what time can know? Then there is a possibility to change the operating system at what time care? Runtime only. So at runtime, I want to remove this Linux operating system. In place of the Linux operating system, there what we have to provide there? What operating system here we have to provide there? Windows operating system here we have to provide. There we have to provide what operating system there? Windows operating system there we have to provide. Is that all of you are getting it or not? This is the reason why. This is exactly the reason why C and C++ are dependent on the operating system which we have used for what their compilation. So C and C++ are what their platform dependent programming languages. Guys, all of you are getting my point now? All of you are following the content what I am giving there. So how C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages? This is the reason here. In C and C++, runtime is dependent on the operating system that what we have used for compilation. That's it. That's the simple reason why C and C++ are what their platform dependent programming languages. That's it. Now let me copy this diagram here. Right. Now the diagram I have given there, but before the diagram here, I want to give some points clarity, few points. What are the concepts here I have given there? One or two points here I want to talk with you. Now try to understand it clearly. If we compile C and C++ programs on Windows operating system, then the compiler will generate the .exe files. Compiler will generate the .exe file or .exe files. Okay, no problem. Where the generated .exe files contains directly executable code, and the generated .exe files contains the local operating system representations, that is Windows representations. That's it. All of you understand it clearly? Local operating system representations, that is what their Windows representations. In this context, if you want to execute the Windows represented.exe file, if you want to execute the Windows represented.exe file, then we must use the same Windows operating system at runtime. If you want to execute the Windows represented.exe file, then we must use the same Windows operating system at runtime. Right, sir. This is a point here what I'm giving there now. All right, so that's okay, fine. In the above context, C and C++ programming languages are dependent on the operating systems which we used for the compilation. Dependent on the operating systems which we used for the compilation. So because of this reason, C and C++ programming languages are platform dependent programming languages. C and C++ programming languages are what? They're platform dependent programming languages. That's it. There's a simple conclusion here what I given. Document is also very much clear. Now try to understand it clearly. And by the way, I forgot to ask you, all of you are having this document link. All of you are having the document link. If any of you are not having that, at the end of the class, just wait here. I'll show the document link. There we can get it. We can get the document every day. Directly we can watch the document here. Okay, that's it. Now let me move on to the next point here. So finally, what topic here we completed, sir? Now tell me what point here I completed there. What topic I completed here? C and C++ are what? Platform dependent programming languages. Up to that only I completed. But what is our required point actually? Why Java is a platform independent programming language? That is our actual point that we have to understand clearly. All right, sir. Before going to understand whether Java is a platform dependent or platform independent programming language, before that, first of all, tell me what is platform independent programming language? Okay, before that, now let me conclude that what is platform dependent programming language? Now tell me. What is platform dependent programming language? Now tell me. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, right, sir? If any programming language allows to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is what? Platform dependent programming language. Quite opposite of this is what their platform independent. Quite opposite of it is what their platform independent. What is this platform independent programming language? If any programming language, listen all of you know, if any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation on one operating system, compilation is on what there? One operating system, and execution is on the another operating system, is on the another operating system, then that programming language is called platform independent programming language, right, sir? Now examples for platform independent programming language are Java, Python, and so on. So many examples are available here. Come again, what is a platform independent programming language? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language is called a platform independent programming language. Examples are what? Java and Python. That's it. Good. Up to now it's okay, fine. I want to show a diagrammatic representation. Try to understand it clearly. Almost last 15 minutes of time is remaining. This last 15 minutes of time is very important. Try to put more concentration. With a small minute point, I'm going to give conclusion. That minute point we have to understand. Okay, right, sir. Now let's move on to the content here. Now see, I want to remove this total diagram here. Observe carefully. First of all, I want to take a Java file. This is Java program, so the extension is what there? .java. .java program is available. There I have written the program in high level. Fine. When we have written the program, then immediately we have to perform what there? Compilation. Compilation is required. There we have to understand compilation. When we perform compilation, then I want to execute this program in multiple operating systems. Why? Because platform independent programming languages capabilities what? We can compile program in one operating system that we can run in what? In any operating system, in a different operating systems. So okay, because of that reason, here I want to take multiple operating systems. Now I want to take 4 operating systems as an example. Here I'm going to take. Here I want to follow one execution. Here I want to follow what there? One type of execution. After that, here we are able to have some outputs. There we are able to have some outputs. Output values here we are going to provide. This is the output. Alright, sir. Now at the same time we can understand for compilation I will use one operating system, and for one-time execution I will use what there? Another operating system. Now moreover, here I am going to provide execution inside this. What operating system I am going to use, I will decide later on. Alright. Like this, how many executions here I am going to provide there? Multiple executions here I am going to provide. This is one execution. Now this is another execution. And then this is another execution. Overall, how many times we compiled our program? Only one time. How many times we executed our program? Multiple times now. Put more concentration. For compilation, I want to use Windows operating system. For one-time execution, I want to use Linux operating system. Another time, we are going to use what there? Solaris operating system. Another time, we are going to use what there? Mac. Another time, we are going to use the same Windows operating system. Another time, we are going to use what there? The same Windows operating system. Tell me, sir. All of you know, tell me. We compiled Java program on Windows operating system. Okay. The same program we are trying to execute on Linux operating system one time, Solaris operating system another time, Mac, and the same Windows again. Observe carefully. If it is happened for Java program, then the Java programming language is what their platform independent programming language. But how it is possible in the case of Java? How it is possible in the case of Java, that we have to understand clearly. Right, now observe carefully. Everybody put more concentration. Right, 1 minute. When we compile our Java program, observe carefully here, we are able to get one type of file, sir. What type of file here we are able to get there? Now tell me. Dot class files here we are able to get. Am I right or not? What type of files here we are able to get there? Dot class files. Now understand it clearly. We are able to get dot class files. This is like what there? Dot class file. Dot class file here we are getting. What is the nature of this dot class file? Everybody understand it, no? What is the nature of this dot class file? Dot class file contains bytecode. Dot class files contains what code? Bytecode. It is not directly executable code. Bytecode is not directly executable code. It is an intermediate code. It is not source code. It is not directly executable code. It is an intermediate code. Is it got or not? So what's the point here? I said, you know, dot class of files contains bytecode. It is not directly executable code. It is not directly executable code. What it is actually not directly executable code, okay? It is an intermediate code, and it does not represent the local operating system. It doesn't have any local operating system. It does not represent any of the operating system. Represent any of the operating system. Any operating system representations including Windows. Including what there? Windows. Doesn't have any operating systems including what there? Windows. Observe carefully. Right, sir? Now this is exactly the information about like what there? Dot class file. Dot class files contains bytecode. It is not directly executable code. It is an intermediate code. It is an intermediate code, and it does not represent any operating system representations, including what representations? No, Windows. Why? Because we have taken Windows for compilation. Even though we compile our Java program on Windows, but still it doesn't represent what their Windows representations. It is not representing any operating system representations. But there is a question now. There is a problem here. Here dot class file here we are getting that I have to execute on Linux operating system or not, that I have to execute on Solaris operating system or not, that I have to execute on MacBook or not, that I have to execute on Windows. But remember one point, if you want to execute any code in Linux operating system, that code must have Linux representations. If you want to execute any code on Solaris, that code must have Solaris representations. If you want to execute any code on MacBook, that code must have Mac representations. Similarly, Windows representations. But we are providing what code? A neutral byte code, not having any of the operating system representations. But to execute that code, we require the target operating system representations or not. Linux operating system representations, Windows representations, or Solaris representations, or Mac representations. Definitely we require some operating system representations or not. But what code here we are providing? A neutral byte code, no operating system representations are available. Almost as this problem, and in C++ the same problem. We are getting the same problem or not? Where mismatch is identified or not? In C and C++ they have not given any solution, but in Java people have given solution. When mismatch is identified, Java has provided solution. How Java was provided solution in this particular point here? To make Java as a platform independent programming language, and to make Java program to run under all the operating systems, Sun Microsystems has provided some converters. Sun Microsystems has provided converters to convert the bytecode from neutral nature to operating system representations. Everybody understand my point here? In this particular situation, Sun Microsystems has provided set of translators or a set of converters to convert the bytecode from neutral operating system representation to a particular operating system representation, that is local operating system representations. Then how the converters are available, there we can identify this. We can understand exactly in this location all converters are provided. Exactly in this location there we are able to have what their converters. There we can understand one converter is existed, there another converter is available here, sorry, another converter is existed here. Now there we can identify one more converter here. Similarly here we are able to have what their converter. These converters are provided by Java. Now just I want to write like what their converters, like this I want to write in a short form. Try to understand it clearly. Sorry. Converters are translators. This is one converter. This is like what there another converter. Now here we are having another converter. Like this here we are having another converter. Now tell me, sir, in this case, what is the purpose of this particular converter? No, what it will convert there? This converter will take neutral representations of the bytecode. It will convert that neutral bytecode to what representations? No, Linux representation. Now the execution process is going to be execute our Linux representations, and finally we are getting some output. Got or not? Now tell me, what is the job of this particular converter? The job of this particular converter is which it takes the neutral bytecode as an input, which it translates that neutral bytecode to Solaris representations, and execution process is going to be happen on Solaris. Finally, we are able to get what their required output. Now, what is the job of this particular converter? No, this converter will take neutral bytecode as an input and it translates that neutral bytecode to Mac operating system representations, and execution is going to be happen on what their Mac. Then we are able to get output. Now this converter, last converter, is able to convert that neutral bytecode into the Windows, and execution is going to be executed on Windows operating system, and finally we are able to get what the required outputs. Now because of this converters only, now our Java program is going to be executed over multiple operating systems. Now tell me, our program is compiled on one operating system, now we execute on other operating systems or not? Now our program is compiled on one operating system and execution is going on with another operating system or not? Everybody understand my point here now? All right, sir. Now observe carefully how Sun Microsystems has provided these converters actually. How Sun Microsystems has provided these converters. Sun Microsystems has provided all these converters along with the execution only. Sun Microsystems has provided this conversion process along with what their execution only. This conversion and execution was provided in a single device. Sun Microsystems has provided this conversion and execution in a single component. The name of that particular component is JVM. The name of that particular component is what there? JVM. Now this is exactly like what there? JVM. The name of that particular component is what there? JVM. Tell me, sir, I'm asking one question there. What is JVM responsibility in Java? Two responsibilities are available. What are the two responsibilities? No, translating neutral bytecode to the local operating system representations. Translating neutral bytecode to the local operating system representation. That translated bytecode with the local operating system representations is called native code. That is called as what there? Native code. Understand it clearly. The translated bytecode is nothing but what code here? Native code. Everybody understand it clearly. The translated bytecode is what there? Native code. So the first job of the JVM is what there? Translating bytecode to native code. Converting the code from bytecode to native code. That's the main responsibility. And second responsibility is what there? When native code is coming, executing that native code. Execution of the native code. Two responsibilities are available for JVM. One is a translation. Second one is what there? Execution. One is what there? Translation. And second one is what there? Execution. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point or not? So this is exactly the meaning of like what there. All right, sir. Java and it's a platform independent nature. Java and it's a platform independent nature. Clear? One more question I'm asking to you. Now try to answer for it. How many times we compiled our program? How many times we compiled our program? Only one time. But how many times we have executed our program? 4 times we execute our program. Am I right or not? Now tell me, in all 4 times execution, how many JVMs here we have used? Is it only one JVM or 4 JVMs? Come on, think and give answer here. Is that only one JVM or 4 JVMs? That's the question now. Right, sir. Is that only one JVM or 4 JVMs? All right. Answer for this question is 4 JVMs. Not one JVM, 4 JVMs. Yeah, I'll give proof for it. Don't worry. Not single JVM, it's a 4 JVMs. Why? Because, listen carefully. Java is a platform independent programming language because of JVMs only. Because of JVMs only, Java is what? A platform independent programming language. But JVM is platform dependent. JVM is platform dependent. First JVM is Linux based JVM. Second JVM is Solaris based JVM. Third one is Mac JVM. Fourth one is Windows JVM. Now tell me, how many JVMs here we have used there? 4 JVMs here we have used. Not like single JVM. Overall, 4 JVMs here we have used. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not clearly now? So this is exactly the story about like what there? Java, and it's a platform independent programming language nature. That's it. The remaining part is what there? The document I need to prepare. Then for the entire content here, I need to prepare document. By that we are able to finish this total content here now. So C and C++ are platform dependent, but Java is what there? Platform independent programming language. These are the reasons internally. Clear? Right, sir. The remaining part, that means already in the document I have given the diagram there. Tomorrow I will explain one more time the diagram, and tomorrow I will prepare the total document. After that we are able to understand the content. So tomorrow, after completion of this point here, first of 15 to 20 minutes I'll finish the remaining part here. After that, tomorrow I will take one more important topic, that is about pointers in Java. Pointers are existed in C and C++, but pointers are not available in Java. Why? What is the reason why pointers are not suitable, not available in Java programming language? That we are going to understand tomorrow. It's also be one of the interesting topic, important topic. Don't miss the topic also tomorrow. Right, sir? Right, sir. That's all for today. We'll meet on tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So guys, then very soon the link is going to be changed. Very soon, max within 1 or 2 days of the link is going to be changed. Please register immediately. Those who are not registered, guys. Yeah, link is going to be changed. For the registered people, we are able to get the link, new link information through mail, but unregistered members are not going to get any link. Just please immediately register for the course. Thank you. Thanks a lot.